Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. And here's what it reads, and I'm going to read the Amplified version. Romans chapter 12 and verse 2, it says, do not be conformed to this world, this age, fashioned after and adapted to its external, superficial customs, but be transformed, changed by the entire renewal of your mind, by its new ideas and its new attitudes, so that you may prove for yourselves what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of God, even the thing which is good and acceptable and perfect in his sight for you. Now, listen to what this is saying here. He's saying here that the way you begin to change, the way you begin to come out of the world system is by renewing your mind, by changing the way you think. By changing the way you think is how you're going to change the course of your life. By changing the way you think is how you're going to change the course of your life. Words determine your thoughts. Thoughts determine your emotions. Your emotions determine your decisions. Your decisions are going to determine your actions. Your actions are going to determine your habits. The habits you create, whatever action you take is going to determine the habits you create, and your habits are going to create your character, and your character is going to lead you to a certain destination. But it all started with words in your thinking. What are you thinking about all the time? What do you always got on your mind all the time? If you always got that joint on your mind or that blunt on your mind, then you know what? You're going to be a weed head. Because you're thinking on the wrong things. Words determine your thoughts. Your thoughts determine your emotions. If you are always thinking about your boyfriend and how much you love him, and you just all Google your emotions all over the place, and then you start making decisions out of that, and then you start taking an action, words, it starts with words. And Romans 12 and 2 is telling you that to change your life, to begin to evolve your life over to where the will of God is, you must put the right words in your thinking. Renew your mind. Change the way you think. Say it with me. Change the way I think. It all starts up here. It all starts in your thinking. It all starts in your mind. But the thing is, you guys don't even realize it. You come in here every single Sunday. Good to see you, man. Every single Sunday, you'll come in here, you'll hear these words, and when you leave here, you may not even go and look at the notes you were taking in here, and you're being bombarded throughout the week with words. Don't you see how subtle the enemy is? I was doing some research on Thursday, and let me tell you, I came across a report by the Kaiser Foundation, and here's what the Kaiser Foundation, they did research on teenagers, and here's what they found out. You all listen to or participate in 7.5 hours a day of media. 7.5 hours a day of media, and it's multimedia. That means you got music going in your ears, you're watching images come into your eye gates. You got me? Music going in your ears, images coming in your eye gates. You're looking at Facebook, you're on your iPod, you're on your iPad, you're on the computer, you're playing the video games, but you do 7.5 hours of media per day. And because you are multimedia, you're doing multimedia things in those 7.5 hours, you cram 10.5 hours of media into your mind in those 7.5 hours of time. 10.5 hours of media, so that's technically 10.5 hours of media information going into your thinking every day. Now, in a week, that's 58 hours a week of media driving your thinking. 58 hours a week. The average work week is 40 hours. The average work week is 40 hours a week. You work 40 hours a week. That's considered an average work week. And you are cramming 58 hours of media into your thinking. Now, do you think that's by accident? No, it is not by accident. It is by design. It is by design because the enemy knows that I can get you if I can get to your thinking. If I can get in your head, if I can get in your thinking, if I can plant words in your mind, I can control everything about your life. And the thing is, as teenagers, you are so deceived that you don't even see it. You're asleep at the wheel right now. You're asleep at the wheel. You got to think about it. 58 hours a week, he is putting words and images into your thinking, which is controlling the decisions you're making. It's controlling everything you do. He's putting words and images into your thinking, which is then controlling your emotional state. And out of your emotions, you're making decisions. That's why the Bible in Romans 12:2 is talking about how you got to renew your mind constantly. You got to constantly spend time in the Word. You're not going to be able to be a successful Christian if every day 10.5 hours of information is going in your head that goes against what the Word of God says. Think about it. Everything you watch, listen to, pay attention to is telling you to do opposite of what God tells you to do. You don't think that's an accident? That's not an accident. That is by design. The enemy knows if I want to win them, I got to get in their thinking because words determine their thoughts, and the thoughts are going to determine their emotional state. So let me capture their attention and get their emotions all out.